I do only have 5 minutes, which means I'm the only thing standing between you and soft pretzels out there, so I will try to make this very, very quick. My name, as Brand just told you, is Ryan Freitas, and I'm from Second Verse. I have 5 minutes of fury for you today, and we're just going to get straight into it. And while some people would start with a joke, I'll start with Peter. One of the best things and the things I'm most thankful for my experience of working with Peter was when we would get ready for presentations at adaptivepath, he would always tell me the so what moment mattered. Find the so what moment in your talk and everything will be fine. I've got 5 minutes, so everything you're about to hear is the so what. Creative freedom is not defined by getting to pick where the sign up button goes. You have bigger responsibilities to yourself, to your organization, and to your users. Too many teams get bogged down in tactical level decisions, and they're either afraid of losing turf or they're getting confused over what it is they're actually supposed to be accomplishing. You have possibly the second most used and successful page on the internet besides the Google search form. No genius required. There are no geniuses behind this except for the people who have decided that data is the only thing that should drive the two separate forms and the two separate tasks that are driving everything that's on this page. You're trying to build something beautiful. You're trying to build an experience. Nothing of that matters unless people can get in the front door. Genius design should focus upon articulating the holistic experience. You really want to keep your overarching sensibilities focused on providing the new, the novel, the interesting. This is the 61. It's a brand new music site. It's a little startup. They're fantastic guys. This is not what iTunes looks like, and yet they're able to do something that's really, really cool. It's a little bit of genius design. It's taking a small problem and turning it into something elegant. Genius design should focus on building the novel, the elegant, and the compelling, something that's outside the ordinary, something that really brings the experience home to the user. For all the rest, default to data. Stop wasting time and wasting your team's time, and stop wasting your energies on things that really can be defined by taking the best of what you know, which is your own user's experience and behavior, the things in your logs. So this is something that we all probably take a look at every once in a while. This is Google Analytics. I hope that you are looking at it. It's your page views, it's your bounce rate, it's things that are actually important to your site. You may even have somebody who's sitting on top of your chest telling you these are the things that matter and need to drive, you've got everything that's got to be focused on this. But really, how closely are you paying attention to metrics related to things like conversion or discovery or contribution? All of these things matter and you need to be paying attention. This is Eric Ries. He is one of the founders of the Lean Startup Movement. He's a blogger. He's a really, really interesting guy. You should follow him on Twitter. Metrics are people too, and there's a message behind that. Because inside the data points that we take a look at and we kind of take for granted are the actual evidence of whether or not you've built a successful experience. There is determination there whether or not you've actually been able to achieve everything you were trying to do. Each one of those data points can be impacted positively by paying attention to the data and deriving tactical level design decisions that really, really can matter in terms of pushing them forward. So what role can data play in helping you build better experiences and helping your team decide to not waste time on things that they might be fighting over? Choice of language, choice of page structure, whether or not a button goes somewhere. This is Avinash Kaushik. He is the chief evangelist for Google Analytics and analytics within the startup space. He is possibly one of the most articulate people I know in terms of getting this message out. And his message is, removing risk is the primary role of data. You can, with data behind you, empower your team to design more creatively risky things than they ever even considered prior. It's because we know we can put these things out and get data around them that we're able to actually push for things that wouldn't normally be part of the normal conversation, because they can implement the most audacious design decisions while at the same time lowering the risk. This is my friend Heaton Shah. He's the founder of a startup called Kissmetrics. His interpretation of Avinash's idea is to just try insane shit, things that you wouldn't normally consider. Really push it. Really go beyond everything that you've ever even thought about doing. It's also the idea that there is no such thing as a home page. Every landing page within your site, every page within your site that somebody can arrive by a search result is worth playing with, worth experimenting with. Anyone in here have perfect conversion in every single one of their flows? Then you need to be paying attention to things like this, trying to experiment and push beyond what can be done. So how do you do this? I can't in 5 minutes talk to you entirely about how split testing works, but there are client and server-side technologies that are relatively easy to set up, and most of you, I think, are using them to some extent right now. I'm just trying to here to advocate for their use in almost everything that you're doing. So split testing is your new BFF. It is really the entry point for having conversations within your organization around the flows that matter, around the conversions that matter, around getting whatever you can do in terms of performance to be even better than it is right now. Split testing and user surveys on live sites can move metrics quickly and effectively with less expense than traditional user testing. Notice what I'm saying here. I am not saying that they are more effective and that they are better, in fact, than traditional testing. I still believe in remote usability. I still believe in doing focused research and testing, but I do believe that doing live testing, split testing on your live site is one of the easiest ways to get actionable data on how to improve upon what is in front of you. I say this to all of you because you are, in fact, hippos. If you're not familiar with the terminology, it means you are the highest paid person opinion in the room when these decisions are being made. You need to be shaping the argument for data because behavioral data will become the primary driver of tactical design decisions within your organization. And this is not a prediction. This is how business is getting done by smaller firms. The lean startup movement is predicated on the idea that you don't need to bring in people within some of the standard and traditional roles that you're used to. I talk to startup founders every day who would not bring in a copywriter until they've tested what their own ideas are. They won't bring in an information architect. They won't bring in an interaction designer. I should be happy they're talking to me. The idea is that these ideas are coming up from the bottom and that they will eventually drive business. And I am convinced that it is in everyone's best interest to understand what data can do for them and to get busy re-architecting and rebalancing the organizations to really understand what data can do. The idea is simple. You want to identify the problem that you have. Pick a poorly performing page, isolate the problems on it, figure out exactly what you can affect with simple changes, like changes in structure, changes in wording, marketing language, changes even in color. Validate it, run some tests, split it up, serve it to 2%, 5% of your user population, and see what their reaction is. Some of you already have OKRs, objectives and key results. You need to be reorienting all of your OKRs towards what data can tell you. A lot of OKRs right now are as ineffective as the page view model is for most advertisers. You need to reorient these things in order to make certain that they're working for you and actually your audience. The other important piece to remember is you need to track the lifespan of every decision that you make. I know a firm that decided to remove the second password entry box on their sign-up form because it was a good idea. It got people through the form faster, except for the fact that it tripled the number of people coming back and saying, I forgot my password. Now you've created another touch point, you've created another point of failure within the experience. You need to understand that one change does not mean a success. You need to actually understand the user's entire holistic experience and make changes that reflect positively within it. I would say that after all this good news, you have to, refrain from going overboard. You can push designers out of the product design flow by testing too much. You can over-test. You can be ridiculous. This isn't about 41 Shades of Blue. For those of you who don't know, this is Marissa Meyer from the Apocryphal story of whether or not Google actually did test 41 different shades of the link color in order to make it work. Data liberates us from the illusion that we completely understand the needs and desires of our audience. Complete information is an illusion. We don't actually have it. No matter how good your research is, you don't truly understand your audience until you watch them behave. And I'm not talking about in a laboratory, and I'm not talking a few people over remote testing. I'm talking about taking millions of users, pushing them through multiple flows, and seeing which actually respond best. If you're wondering what you should be working on first, start with the simple. Page structure. Take something that's underperforming, as I said, and really see what might work. This is something a little controversial. This is Heaton again, and he advocates for actually throwing away throwing away your style guide when trying to figure out what to test. Because sometimes your style guide imposes constraints that you really can't work within when you're trying to determine how best to work. Feel free to show 1% of your audience something that is completely not what you would consider within the constraints of your brand. When we lack the resolve to experiment, we doom ourselves to a series of ongoing compromises. We need to be more afraid of what we don't know about our audience than the possibility of making a mistake and trying to make them happy. I'm a big advocate of destroying things in order to save them. So if you actually can blow it up, feel free. I would also recommend, if you can, as my final point, iterate without sentimentality. There are teams out there that are starting without all the bad decisions that you already made. You need to recognize what's happened before in terms of the design decisions that you've made. They are sunk cost, and we need to move past them as quickly as possible. The other piece is to remember to always iterate, especially when you're successful, because There's never an opportunity to improve upon all what you've already done before. Thank you very much for your attention. My name is Ryan Freitas.